Okay, Christina Merkley here, and I've got Laurie, and we're going to do some work. We're going to do some inner work here. We've had a bit of a preamble. So you were in the some of the process groups I've been doing, and you've already had the benefit of doing the future self, and you found that helpful and very different from the usual deep process work that has a certain feel to it that you do as the wonderful healer you are. So that sounds good. You wanted to go for something a little lighter, more fun. And you encountered in that future self 5 years out, is that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So 5 years out, and she's got this infrastructure that she's built. So tell me a little bit about that, what you encountered in your first journey with the future self.
Right. So my future self was in the garden, and I'm actually doing for the first time putting in a garden at that property, and she was in there gardening, but around in the property there was this really elaborate tree fort and outside space, and there was this healing lodge, world-renowned log building.
Cool. Yeah.
Which I had looked at. I had looked into a little bit, researched a little bit. There's this company in Williams Lake that does really amazing log homes. So there is actually the shell of a log home up a bit too. That I have plans to have that as part of the healing infrastructure as well. But yeah, in the future self, yeah, I was just really amazed by everything being in full operation.
Yeah, so she's out there, was it 2025? Is that, and was there a particular date you went to?
No.
Or month, I mean, sorry. Yeah.
I just got that it was, I think it was the summer.
Okay, good.
The gardening
Yeah.
was
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, full. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to just screen share here. We had a quick discussion, and we knew this future self, we're going to go back there. And really what's coming up now is the how, right? Because it's kind of like, whoa, fully operational in 5 years? Tell me how that happens. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to do an interesting hybrid. We're going to do future self in conjunction with the take action map. So I'm going to share my screen. And I've got the action plan up here. Take action. So let me acquaint you to this, and just the future self will know that we can tweak this however she wants to, and you want to tweak it. But this is what I use for helping people once they've got a vision. How do you bridge between where you are, where you want to be, right? And so in the physical world here, bringing it down and grounding it. I like to keep it simple to 3 areas. So you've got your vision over here. You can see this, right? Okay, good. Over here, it's tiny. So, but this is like the future self standing there, and these are the components of the future self. And we've started to touch into it a little bit. We know that you've got this inherited property, and that this is going to be a healing lodge built and fully operational on this property. And it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility, super cool log home structure, built maybe even by a particular company that's leading in that. So that's that vision. That's summer 2025. And so I'm going to use this tool. We're going to dialogue with the future self, and she's going to help you build this. Remembering it doesn't have to just be doing. It can also be being, and probably with you, with your healing aspects, there's going to be a lot of being in this, you know, instead of just the typical action doing. 3 areas, because sometimes it might not go this way with you. Your future self is going to guide me, but sometimes it helps to have, okay, if that's where we're going, what are the 3 big things that we need to focus on? And then under those 3 big things, 3 big action areas, you drill down, hence all these, like I got 8 of them in here, right, in each section. what are the little minier steps when we do strat planning? Because I come from strategic planning in the organizational world way back when. We have the strategic level, then we go down into actions, and then we go down into tasks, right? So we're going to get more of the big action layer up at the top, and then we're going to go into discrete tasks underneath. We'll see with your future self. Sometimes they're really nitty gritty granular things, but sometimes they're quite big,
Okay.
right? And then those things might have to be broken down. So we'll see what she's going to give you, whether it's going to be a high level action plan or if it's really going to get tactical or maybe a mix of both. I'm excited. I don't think I've done this is great. I don't know why I haven't. I don't think I've ever done a action plan engaging the future self. Duh, I should have thought of this years ago. Okay. Brilliant. It took you to bring this about, Laurie. Good. Okay, so let's get us there so that we can, you can guide us into the time and place of the future self. So we're going to time travel back out there again. You probably use something to help you do that previously. So if you remember and it feels right to use that same time traveling thing, do you remember what you had last time?
You had just guided the group, I think so.
I think I guided everybody to pick a thing. Yeah. So I don't know if you pick, like, you know, sometimes it's an animal that takes you there, or it's some sort of vehicle like a bubble or a flying carpet or Doctor Who's Tellus or whatever.
Yeah, you know, I used to do that with my Mindscape.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I just go there now.
You just get there. Perfect. I know, you're like done. Yeah, yeah. She's advanced. Okay, so then just do it. Just set your focus and bring yourself into the time and place of summer 2025. I'm going to feel your energy and come along there behind you. And your future self, again, is delighted. She has spidey senses, so she knows, right? Telepathy. So she's, in whatever way she's cared to, she has got ready for your arrival. So receive her. She might be like, no nonsense, like, okay, let's go. Does she want to take you anywhere? Does she want to show you anything in particular? Is she going to take you somewhere to have this conversation? Or I'm getting a draft table for some reason flashing through my being. So maybe she's going to show you the plans or something.
Right. Yeah. Oh, okay. So we're in the right now. It's a shell of a log house. It was going to be our family home, and it never was. But there's an office in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's overlooking the Skeena River and the Seven Sisters. You can
Beautiful.
It's a gorgeous spot. So it's part of that space ended up being an office. So that's where we are.
Okay, great. So settling down into the office. Hi, future self. Nice to meet you. You can see in front of us the action plan. So I'm going to really work in conjunction with you and with Laurie to build this action plan. And you can see future self, there's 3 different areas. You may suggest less or more. I can kind of tweak it accordingly. And underneath those areas are the things to do by when, right? We get real tactical here. Do you have a 3 already? If so, kind of beam that information to Laurie. Or Laurie, if you have any questions to kind of open this up with her, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, she's really excited.
Cool. I can feel that energy too.
It's a lot of energy. Yeah. So I'm just sort of, I'm sort of letting that kind of go through me, but, it's cool. Let's see what,
sometimes future selves, sometimes future selves will tell the person what they did. Sometimes you'll have the benefit of hindsight. So you went through and you did it the way you did it and you learned a bunch of stuff. And if you could do it over again, you would do it maybe differently. So she can either tell you the steps as they happen, like, hey, here's the 3 big things you need to focus on. And that's the same as what I did. Or, hey, here's the 3 big things I would suggest you do based off of my learning.
Right, right. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I think because it's been interesting in the conversations that I've had um, with my significant other about this, because he just is like, yeah, we could do this, we could do this, we could. I'm like, we need some phases here, like phase 1, 2, 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get way too overwhelmed if we're.
Right.
And so phase 1 and bringing it to that focus, I think she's just sort of saying that's a good thing to do.
Okay, good. So we're going to write on here, we'll come up with a name for these phases here, but we've got phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Okay, so she's given her thumbs up on that. Okay, got it, future self. Thank you. Now, one thing because you're saying thinking, I want to get you into her and
Right.
thinking and being her, right? Instead of your left brain going, I think,
Yeah.
So check with her. Is she okay with you embodying her? She doesn't have to vacate. You can both be in there at the same time.
Yes, she is.
Okay, so then do it. You know how to do it. Jump yourself in there. Get into that body,
Yeah.
into those limbs, into those clothes, into those, looking through those eyes, smelling through that nose, having her hair, having her body, having her feet on her ground. This is her world. This is her reality, having her past, right? So she has this gap. She's been you back there in 2020, but she also has the gap between 2020 and 2025. She's got all that experience, all that growth, all that development, all that knowledge. So as you're being her now, is looking at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. From here on in, when I say Laurie, I'm talking to the future self, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
Laurie, future self, are there, help me with this. What's the first phase? How do you sum up this first phase that you want the 2021 to know about?
Um,
Be her and see what she says. The first phase is,
the first, the focus, the phase is just popping into my head is about the lodge itself.
yep. Is there a verb? Usually I have a verb started off, so we know it's a lot. Is it create create it, draft it, organize it, build it? What's the verb?
I think it's to draft it.
Okay, draft the lodge. Okay, excellent. We can go in and tease this one out, or do you want to give me the phase names first and then we'll go back and tease it out? Number 1 is draft the lodge. Is there a number 2 already?
Yeah, phase 2. Um, yeah, it'll be interesting if it happens tandem or not. But anyways, it there it's about making it a self-sustaining, um, like that there be revenue to sustain it. It's not going to be a nonprofit. It'll be revenue generating. So phase 2, I think, is about.
Build revenue generation.
Yeah.
Okay. And what's phase 3?
Phase 3. I'm not sure what it is.
Isn't it existence? Once you got the lodge and once you've got that generation, what happens after you get those things up and going?
The day-to-day operations, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. Where are you at, future self? You're 5 years out there. Is this starting to get into Like that's what you've done. You've got now you're like this day-to-day operations thing is like, ooh, what is that? Because that's her stretch. That's your stretch, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay, good. Let me put that in, day-to-day operations. And we may need to bring in the future self. In fact, check to see if future self, do we need to do that? Do we need to bring in your future self from here? The guide you, yeah.
Yes.
Where's your intuitive sense? How far out? Do we go another 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So future self, and she's out there in 2030. Good. So you know how to make this happen. Put out the call, siren call to the future self. Psst, we need you. Do you do it through some sort of communication, or do you pull her physically to come to be there with you guys in 2025?
Yeah, to come to 2025.
Okay, good. Then let's have it happen. Boom. You put the call out, she comes. And so not only the 2025 self, you've now got the 2020 self, and on somewhere else beside you, around you, you've got the 2030 self.
Yeah, I can feel that.
I know, cool, eh? Yeah, right
It's a
on.
lot of energy to have.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
even imagine having like the energy of 3 of me in 2020. Forget like the future self and future self.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going on, right? All these timelines are coming together. So let's get this trio together here. So here's all your cells. Talk about energy. Yeah, powerful healing woman you are, and the powerful mission you're on. Of course, it's going to require this kind of collaboration.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got 20 and 25 and 30. All being pulled together here to make this happen. Okay, ladies, let's go to phase 1, draft the lodge. When does this phase of drafting the lodge, when is it complete by?
Mm, I'm getting like 4 months from now.
Okay, good. So we're in April right now. So add 4. Where does that take us?
August.
Okay, good. So this first phase drafting, so in your next 4 months, you're going to draft a lodge. So by August 2020, you'll have that part of it complete. Okay, knowing that that's the amount of time that we're working in, ladies, now what becomes the granular steps underneath that? So if you're going to have the draft of a lodge complete by August 2020, what becomes the steps to help you get there? And I'll just get them as they come out. Some of these might be, we might need to rearrange the order, but I'm just going to get them down, and that can be phase 2 after this. You can rearrange these into, some other proper order if need be. Okay, what's the first thing that comes out?
It's already been like talked about because yeah, me and my significant other, he knows someone that already does this kind of work, at least for where it might go in the property.
Yep.
So location in the property, and we've been out there gardening a bit already, so we've talked about where the location would be.
Okay, so determine location on property. Good.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a talk to so-and-so underneath that one. So give me a first name.
I think the name was Nathan.
Okay. We'll put talk to Nathan.
And actually, he already did, and to someone else, and he put Google Map, got them to print a Google Map of like where our property is from up above. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, right on. Okay, so if this is already in process, you've already talked to him. Okay, so I'm going to change that for talk to him, work with Nathan. Are you sure you're going to stick with him, or?
I'm not sure. I'm
Okay.
not, yeah, not
Okay.
sure.
So then we'll just
Somebody.
leave that. Okay. So we'll just leave this. This is what I meant about a higher level, right? We could
Mm-hmm.
pick around with a lot of nitty gritty details under that. I don't think we need to. The bigger
Yeah.
step is determine the location of the property. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not going to get into the buy right now. I want to see some of the other steps, but we'll swing back and we'll get a buy. Once we see some of the other steps, it sometimes helps with the timing of these things. Once we get a few of them down, then we start to organize it about timing. So what else happens to draft this lodge? There's the determine the location of the property. What else, ladies?
Water. It's yeah. The water is going to be a big one.
Okay. Figure out water supply, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. What do you do? Do you do well? Or it might be something else.
There is a creek, so I'm not sure, but could be a well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, figure out your options. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what else, ladies? What else is on this draft the lodge? What else is a step?
It's off grid, so the solar
Mm-hmm.
or the power in some way.
Okay, yeah. So it might be solar or a bunch of different things. So figure out power. And it's off grid. Okay, exciting. What's next, ladies?
Um, yeah, so within the lodge, whether it's at the lodge or attached or separate, there would be, the kitchen, so the food, like the food,
Yep.
like the food production, right,
Okay.
of feeding whoever is going to come to the healing center, right?
Mm-hmm. Is so you're going to, it would seem everything has to be figured out, not just the food,
Yeah.
right? So you may not know, maybe your trio may, but this whole drafting the lodge, what is this? Getting the architectural plans figured out?
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even there's a step before that, figuring out like, what is this place, right? Like you're visioning of what this is. It might already be there, right? This is a healing lodge. What does a healing lodge need to have in place? Yeah. So you know that there's something about food. So part of this healing lodge is going to be feeding people there.
Mm-hmm.
And is it any special kind of ceremonial aspect to that as well? So that impacts the how you go about designing it, where it's located, or what it functions it needs to provide, or how.
Yeah, like there will be an indigenous focus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I mean there's a lot of things you can do with a healing center, but um, I want it to be an addictions treatment
Amazing. Yep.
for individuals, and then even I I think it might be for families.
Wow. Yep. So knowing who the target market is, in a business way of saying it, um, uh, will determine, how you build this out, right? So maybe that's a step
Mm-hmm.
your whole kind of business plan, right? Part of the business plan is really figuring out what is the mission and purpose, and who's the clientele.
Yeah, and I've been involved quite extensively in a proposal to have an indigenous court
Mm-hmm.
open.
Mm-hmm.
There's 6 operational in BC, and often part of the healing plan for the participants within that process is treatment.
Yep. So in terms of a step in drafting the lodge, then there's some sort of interactions, collaborations, joint venturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the court aspect of it. How would you define that? What's the verb around that? Determine.
Any kind of partners or
Clarify partners. Clarify mission. Maybe clarify mission and purpose first.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Clarify mission and purpose, and determine appropriate partners.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Um, would it be appropriate court and addiction partners? Or there's a subset list underneath. So it might be a lot of other ones, right? So we've got determine appropriate partners. What did you call the court? What was the verbiage so I get it right?
It's Indigenous court.
Just an indigenous court. Okay. Indigenous court. Okay. And then what about the addiction side of it? Is there particulars around that?
Yeah, like with the probably would be with the First Nations Health Authority,
Uh-huh. Yep.
First Nations Health Council.
Are those two different ones?
They are, yeah.
Okay, I'll do it separately then. Good. And then First Nations Health Council. Excellent. Anything else come top of mind?
The local communities.
Yeah, okay. Ooh, got goosebumps on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. What else? Anything else? Appropriate partners.
Could be government.
Mm-hmm. Yep, makes sense. Anything else, ladies?
The education be interesting. It's just kind of come up about. Yeah. Oh, so a friend of mine was telling me about how she had this thing. It was more about single moms, but how single moms could build their own tiny houses. So then have a house, but then also get it as a trade, like as they're building it,
Oh yeah,
learn
cool.
sort of a
Yeah,
trade.
yep.
So I was like, oh my goodness, that would be so incredible,
To
right?
involve that in too. Yeah. So how would you sum that up? That's more like um, a trade, a skills development program at the
Mm-hmm,
same
mm-hmm.
time? Okay. And part of the education, huh?
Yeah.
Trade skills program. Wow, cool. Double, triple, quadruple duty. Yeah,
I know.
while you do this. Yeah. Hmm. Excellent. What else goes into draft the lodge?
Well, so there's going to be staff accommodations, or client accommodations and space for the healing room or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it ends up being.
I'll just put healing spaces.
Mm-hmm.
And then we heard kitchen before, kitchen food prep. I'm just feeling underneath the healing spaces, there's stuff for individual work, right? Or pairs, dyad work, probably small group and big group, maybe public ceremonial stuff. So across the whole gamut, and probably indoor and outdoor, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll put outdoor. Okay. Anything else that's significant at this point in time, ladies, knowing this is a draft 1.0, but anything else to go into this phase of draft the lodge that seems either those other, the 2025 self or the 2030 self, anything that they want to get across to you?
Yeah, I think it's just about, what we're doing, right? You start at one place and I think what they're wanting to convey to me is just that things things can happen easily. It doesn't have to be what I'm used to of
Okay,
like.
so you're starting to hyperventilate and go, oh my God, right? So we're getting a little flippant happening. So what was your, well, let me just get their soothing thoughts. So what do they say to you? They say, it can go smooth, this can go smooth.
Mhm. Mhm.
What else do they say?
It's just something that I kind of know, but maybe haven't truly experienced. But when you really love doing something, it's not hard work. It's just it's fun, right? Like even though there's the part of me that's freaking out that I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah. So it's a big project. It's an incredible project, but it's going to be fun.
Mhm.
Good. We can keep coming and collecting up soothing thoughts as we're going along, because as you build this, right, if you get to hit your yeah buts, then they can kind of, give you authentic, support. Let me go to the next one. So phase 2, building this revenue generation. This might be happening concurrently. Just because the map's built this way doesn't mean it's all neat little silos. In fact, life is never like that.
Yeah.
But we can't, I'm not quite capable of drawing the chaos in all its true form here, complexity. So we have to do a linear map that's kind of like ha 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 in terms of the reality. The map is not the territory, as they say, but knowing that this might be happening concurrently. So what becomes the buy when to figure out this building the revenue generation? The next phase is the day-to-day operation. So there's this whole phase of figuring out how the heck does this thing support itself?
Yeah.
When does that get figured out by?
I think it's just gonna happen along with. I think it's gonna be happening at the same time. I
Yeah.
think in my mind it needed to be separate.
Yeah, but do you think it's done and all figured out by August, or is there a larger stretch to it?
I think there'll be pieces that
Or a
will
shorter
like
stretch? Mm-hmm.
there'll be pieces that will come together by August. Yeah.
Okay. And what are the other pieces? What's the longer stretch on the other pieces? Where does it go to?
To like a year from now.
Okay. Yeah, good. So we're in April right now. So that would make April 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put that down. So this is by when, by all of this, by what's going to come here, April 2021. Okay, so then what becomes the steps for this building revenue generation stuff? Let them speak, let them throw their ideas and their wisdom over to you and stuff you already have brewing internally in you. What pops up?
Well, to have the Healing Lodge be like a program separate from the addictions. that it's like a more of a.
Oh, so now the addiction program is one that's what's coming up as a revenue generator. It's one of those things that will be part of the revenues here is the addiction program.
It could be, yeah, but having even a different program where it's like just the regular person that wants to come for a retreat and for healing.
Okay. So
Right.
good. So there's two things emerging here. So one, I'm just going to put, for lack of a more nuanced word right now, we'll put addictions program as one. And then we've got, what do you want to call this, like regular residential program? Or what's the term for that?
I think it would probably fit under retreat, maybe.
Good. Retreats. So like renewal retreats or something, or what are they?
Yeah, or healing.
Okay, healing retreats. Very good.
Healing.
Let me put that. Yeah, that's a good broad general term. Healing retreats. Good. Excellent. Got it. What else? You already mentioned one, which is the trade skills program.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll put that one down. What else can you see? What about the court side? If you look at your partners, you've got Indigenous Court, First Nations Health Authority, First Nations Health Council, local communities, government, education. Are any of those revenue sources or generation? So are there grants per se?
Mm-hmm.
That might be one aspect of it, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put grants. What else can you see?
Well, we started looking into a little bit. I think there's some other projects happening locally for growing hemp.
Hmm. So would that be agricultural?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll put
I
that
believe
down.
so.
Agricultural, there might be some agricultural programs or tie-ins. Good. Does all the money sources, if I'm looking at the Health Council, the Health Authority and government, I mean, yes, grants is one form that money comes in, but how else does money come in? What's it called when there's a transfer or there's something in the budget? There's a lot of different ways that government money anyway gets tasked or put towards different First Nation programs. Are they all grants, or what other ways does it show up?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know all the ways,
Yeah.
but there's definitely, well, um
So there's an education. So education about Aboriginal funding.
mhm.
Okay. Because you haven't mentioned bands either, right? So there can be um, funding through, maybe that's local communities getting more granular about who the local communities are. So there's education about Aboriginal funding. And maybe that's we put it at the 4 levels. So there's, if it's Aboriginal government funding, or maybe we just leave it funding. Um, so there's federal, there's provincial, municipal, and then there's private funding. Any others you think of?
Mm, no.
Private, I was thinking like band funding or specific First Nations funding could be that. Private could be all sorts of things. Angel funds funding. Uh, Okay, so there's an education process for you to go through, right? And really figuring this out as you're talking with the different partners. Are there any I'm thinking like best in class. Are there any examples of other places? You had mentioned that there were other indigenous courts, so that it's like case study modeling, right? Where you
Right.
figure it doesn't have to just be in BC. Some of my clients have people who are in Australia, right? So like the Maori is very leading, and they do different things. So I'm wondering about internationally if there might be some piggyback learning or case studies or tours and stuff you can do to figure out why reinvent the wheel if you can go to some other places. What did they do? What were their funding sources?
Mm-hmm.
Even though they might not be exactly the same in BC or Canada, might be part of your education process about how these things get done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And the one thing I haven't mentioned is that there is a local addictions program. It's actually just happens to be just up the road.
Oh,
Um, so I don't know how much family they do, but there could be some partnering, and sometimes people will go through their program twice too, which I think there's going to be enough different, but for some individuals that go through that, they might be interested in more focusing on the family treatment, but they're being funded in some way right now.
yeah.
Um,
So I put it down as there's this whole thing about funding that's specifically earmarked for Aboriginal uh, based things. And then
mhm,
there's also education or you getting educated about what addiction funding and models exist.
mhm.
Yeah. And existing models, I guess. Okay. Ask your don't just do it yourself. Ask the 25 and 30 selves. Ladies, anything else you would say about this building revenue generation? What are her steps?
Mhm. Um, yeah, well, my significant other knows a lot about this,
Oh,
so
good.
I
That's
just
that's
really have
handy.
to
Good.
just ask him. Yeah,
Okay. Well, good. Handy. Yeah.
yeah, and I've always kind of thought that would fall into place somewhat
Mm-hmm.
easily, right? But I mean, I don't totally understand it, but he does.
Okay. But
So
he does. That's good. And so this is part of why this is manifesting too, as us conscious partnership to be able to do this. I'm just changing the word educate to research on these ones.
right.
Research and research. Okay, so we'll know that research and we'll put a network because he's got a network, right? He's already kind of tapped in there, so you can tap into that network. Okay, okay, good. But you're going to get educated, right? You yourself will be through this process, even though he knows about it. You'll be researching it via him and via other sources, and really getting educated about this. Your
Yeah.
consciousness is going to just totally get expanded, and what a cool education to find out about these things, what exists, and then what's that edge about maybe even doing something differently and beyond what currently exists.
Yeah, and he has so many ideas. Like food security is such a big thing right now, so that could
Mm-hmm.
be a
Mm-hmm.
possible
That's
thing.
interesting. I'll put that down on the aspects here. Good. Food security. Yeah, excellent. Okay. Okay, we may have, again, it's draft 1.0. It's okay at this stage for it to be high level.
Hmm.
More will unfold here, but this is starting to organize it at a different level than you've had it organized so far. So let's go to the next one, day-to-day operations. So when would day-to-day operations kick in, ladies?
2 years is popping up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is that April of 2022?
I think June.
Okay. So by June 2022, everything's going to be done and you're off and running. No. Okay. See,
Okay.
I was just testing. Yeah, I know it was pretty short. I was like 2 years. I don't know.
I don't know.
So what?
Maybe maybe it's 3, or maybe it's going to be in a small scale. I don't know. I don't know. The two
Well,
years.
ask them. Don't do it all
Yeah.
yourself. Ask them. What
Um,
do they say?
uh, I'm not sure. I'm just feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah. So I think you got something there, which was phases. So there's going to be phases with this day-to-day operations. And see if you can get a whiff of when that first phase is. Maybe it's back to that in 2 years, because some of the stuff, right, like even the building of it, that if it's going to be a trades program kind of thing connected, right, skills building trade thing, then day operations is going to be starting even while it's being built.
Right, right, for sure. That makes sense.
So it could, the actual completion of the lodge may be off, but the having people there and people being involved and funding and payment and staff and people to oversee that could happen even at the groundbreaking, before groundbreaking, starting to build stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Mm.
that makes sense.
Okay, so the phase 2 is April 2021, figuring out what's the picture here of how this thing gets funded. And those things are probably going to have some linearness to them, like some things begin earlier and then mid and later, but
Hmm.
these earlier kind of ones, they start to kick in this day-to-day operations thing. So go to your future selves and see what they want me to put down there in terms of at least the beginning, whatever happens first, that you get into day-to-day operations. What's the month and year?
Yeah, like I was curious about when the building would start.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, let's put that down. So to get to day-to-day operations, well, the first one's drafting the lodge. Now it's actually building. We got to get into the tangible, like before you have
Hmm.
data, and even the day-to-day operations is going to start with the building, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to be a project manager. Okay, I get where they're going. Okay, let's put this down. So build the lodge. Yeah. Okay, good. Obviously that one could have multiple take action plans on its own, but we're just getting the high level terrain here. So good. What else needs to happen in terms of getting to day-to-day operations?
Well, yeah, you'd already mentioned like the project manager
Yep,
is a key one, I think.
good. Let me put that in, project manager and management. Good.
Hmm.
Okay, good. When you get overwhelmed, do your best to throw your consciousness over and be them, because they have a different consciousness. And I'll poke around again. If you get mired in yeah buts, then we need to do flip it work, right? So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think you can, if I nudge you every once in a while, it's like, go be them. Stop doing it with you because you get into overwhelm. So go be them and see what their consciousness says.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm feeling myself shift and a release from my nervous system when my eyes start
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that happens.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try something here. Go throw yourself into 2030 self,
Okay.
and I want you to channel her. I want you to embody and channel her. So, hey, Laurie's 2030 self. Thank you, future self, for showing up here. You can see it's a bit of a challenge. She has some consciousness shifts to make over the next 10 years. You've already done them. What do you see about this day-to-day operations? What do you say to her from your perspective? Because you've got through it and you're beyond it. So what do you say? You got to get the lodge built. There's the whole figure out the project manager and then that person doing their management.
Yeah, she's telling me about, so my background's in human resources,
Mm,
and I've thought a lot over the years about running my own bigger business or a bigger something.
yep.
Um, yeah, and she's just saying that it is possible to do it the way I think it should be done.
Okay, yeah. So you good. So isn't it fascinating that you have this background and now this vision is showing up? Like, your soul might know what it's doing here to have it funnel through you and your form. Yeah,
Hmm.
good. So she's saying, yes, you can put into practice those things that you learned and that you believe in about doing this quote unquote properly.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So apply, what do you call it? Good HR practices, or what's the
Yeah.
terminology?
Yeah, for sure. It is about that.
Effective? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll put effective for now, but maybe you got better words. You tell me. Apply effective human resources principles.
And it has to do with operations too. Like, even though I've never been an operations manager, I've always worked closely with operations, and I've always kept that at the forefront of how can, the human resources, how can the staff, like the staffing, how can it make operations effective?
Yeah, good. And then so I'll put this, make operations effective. Or support, maybe it's support. Make sounds like, hey, you're going to do what
Yeah,
I want to do, but
yeah, yeah.
support them, right? Because that's applying effective human resources results in uh, effective, what's the word? Is it effective? What's the essence of that? You want those operations to be what?
Um,
Create.
just like it's sort of seamless. It,
So if you don't have seams, what do you have?
what's the word?
Is it a holistic?
Yeah, yeah, like that. Yeah, it is about holistic and like a healthy organization for sure, so that things that come up, it can be dealt with in a smooth and easy manner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So as a working title, I put create healthy and holistic operations. Excellent. Ooh, goosebumps again. Yeah. Okay. I like what that 2030 self says. So let's go back to her. Anything else you want on here, 2030, from your perspective? Thank you for that assist. Applying what Laurie knows about effective human resources, got it. And that all goes into feeding a healthy and a holistic operations.
Yeah, she's talking about just the the synergy of everything, the yeah, because I always think of how everything's connected, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you heal in one area and you heal the whole, but I but yeah, my vision is how much, and it's already starting of, how much, like, to be healthy we need to, yeah, there's so much that goes into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the synergy of what will happen when people come and be a part of it, from and everyone, the clients and the staff, and
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's really congruent through and through. So you staff, clients, all.
yeah, the partners, like everyone that's involved, there's just going to be,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, back to energy principles, right? So the energetic of this, synergistic, it's healthy, it's holistic, powerful, healing. Let me get some of those down. I guess I already have them here. Healthy, holistic. Any others? What's yummy words, right? When we do the magnetism map, we get into defining this. So you're there and it's got a certain feel. It oozes. What does it ooze? What's its vibration? What's its frequency? What is this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it has to do because healing, right? It's a healing lodge. Within that, there's the um, yeah. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of stuff flashing right now.
Mm-hmm. You're doing great.
Uh, the connection to the land is so important.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's property, it's on traditional Gitsan territory,
Cool.
and I grew up there off grid till I was 8,
Mm.
and it was just so important for me. Like I didn't, of course, know until later, but just I think that just grounded me
Mm-hmm.
because the rest of the culture is like it was a big disconnect, but the connection to the land was there just from being there and running around as a kid, like just playing outside constant and and I at a base level, like for healing to me, connecting with the land is a little bit safer than connecting with people, right?
Yeah. And you've got people all the way through this, but now you're coming back to your roots. Now you're coming back to, and this is tapped into the land, talking about synergy, talking about even synergy for you, about going back to your roots, going back to that 8-year-old and younger girl and being off the grid, and how powerful that land when nothing else. That's why you're coming back and bringing a healing community, right? So coming full circle, because some of what went on, we're probably encountering orphan stuff. Some of what went on, it wasn't great with the human stuff. So that's why you're coming back. You're coming full circle to bring a healing and addiction center to this land.
And my dad had one of the reason he passed away so young was because he drank a lot,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
so that was, he was 51, and heart disease runs in the family, but drinking a lot, of course, did not help
yeah.
his heart, and so that's my one of my big connections with the addictions piece, right?
Yeah. So like, wow. I have the deceased sometimes show up, and your dad just showed up. So I can feel him right behind. Oh, he's going to put his hand on my shoulder. He's behind this. He's just, you know, oh, you're, part of why you're doing this is you're doing this for him. And
Yeah.
there's a connection, and I can feel his higher self, right, overseeing this. And as you know, when people die and they pop into that fuller consciousness of themselves, they understand things at a much deeper level, and they are different, and they get their healing done over on the other side too. So I can just feel his presence and his power and his, wow, he's very tall, like straight, right? Like really magnificent. You've got him in his magnificent self behind this, Laurie. And
Mm-hmm.
your little girl and adolescent and maybe adult, right, who were wounded, understandably, with him and his addiction and his journey. You've also got this one back here who's uh, in his way making up for that from his new perspective. And so I can feel him now, and I feel it in the heart, right? So he's behind here, this, with, it's part of his apology,
Mm-hmm.
his way of helping right it. Often out of the greatest wounds, right, comes our mission and our purpose. I feel that here with you and with him. And
Mm-hmm.
in the land, the context of the land and this community, how powerful that is, and how needed, and how holistic in the sense that this is operating at multidimensional levels.
Mm-hmm.
So I can feel through the land the ancestral connection, um, and obviously he's not there by himself. Yeah. I feel them on this side, just the whole lineage. So you're not alone in this. This is multidimensionally supported. Your ancestors and your lineage is right there, and the land itself, because there's such a tied in connection with the people, with the land. It's dovetailed.
Mm-hmm.
Their overlay is so there on that land, and their connection for eons with that particular region. Found very moving, very deep, very strong, very wise. Whew. It's an honor to feel it and tap into it, even to be able to draw this map. I feel tears coming on, just the honor of being connected with all this. Thank you. Oh, I feel somebody else's hand came back there. Now I got either shoulder, I got hands on. How nice. And through me to you too. I know you're feeling it, but it's just this rush of energy through. And they're rushing through this map, this map, and everything that this map represents. There's an energetic being, their blessing on it, and they're energetic, and their energy of it is such a higher vibration, right? So they're imbuing this with their energy and their will, their free will. And yours. This is up to you. This is, you're not forced in here. This is your free will. They're kind of saying to me too, to remind you, this is your free will. It's, yes, we're all here, but up to you. Mission and purpose here, up to you. They're going to help you though. So back to the fun and love. They got connections. They got, this is a good team to have. They're already lining this up. Maybe even I feel the partner, right? Bringing you and the partner together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting. I feel really calm now.
Good. That's helped. Their arrival has calmed the nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
Well, and one of the reasons why I think, like, part of why this is all happening is that I have all this untapped creativity, trapped creativity energy.
Yep.
And that's part of the reason why I get my headaches, I think. And my other health stuff. It's just like, that can't be good to have this.
Well, you got this huge thing that's kind of a little blocked, right? It's like you got to get it flowing. Yeah.
And so, like, when I did the first, when I was on part of your group call and our group session with the seeing my future self and this starting, and I was in the middle of my big personal crisis, and I normally will just focus on what I have to and I don't bring in, but I was like, no, I rewrote my notes onto this piece of paper and I kept talking about it, and I was like, no, this is the other, I knew how important it was. So
Well, and I truly believe that so much is amping up right now in a good way. I know that on the surface, there's a lot of traumatic, but also I see it myself and so many people I'm working with, and I see it here with you, that this is taking us up to our next level, right?
mm-hmm.
and what we're about and what we're here to do. And you're here to do this. And part of the health stuff is uh, getting yourself aligned and sorted out here so you can have this incredibly magnificent embodiment or manifestation that you're to bring through to occur. Otherwise, you're going to be blah, blah, blah. And I think that also I know because you and I have had connections over the years here. And I've seen you do a tremendous amount of your own work and assist other people, particularly in your community too, but beyond, to do the same thing, right? So that you can do this. You had to clear up your gunk. You had to clear up your system. You had to get yourself aligned so this magnificent power can flow through you and come into this plane.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to them. I know we're close. This has been incredible. Go back to them and them. But I want to start with your future selves. Future self at 2025. Anything you want to say to complete? Any final words, knowing Laurie can connect with you at any time, but anything you want to say from this container? See if there's anything final she wants to get across.
Yeah, she's just encouraging me to just talk with her throughout the process. That there's like I seeing the three pictures of me in 2020,
Yeah.
25 to 30. That this is the part of the dream team.
Yay. Goosebumps again. Dream team. Yes.
And my dream team is my spiritual team. I have a big spiritual team,
Mm-hmm,
but I
mm-hmm.
don't always remember to
Right.
utilize their help, right?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to put
So
them in.
she's saying, like, remember that there's this other big team that's,
Yeah.
you know,
It's huge. I'm just kind of putting the team, something to represent this team. If you ever done constellations where you feel the whole lineage and team behind you, it's magnificent to feel that. So she's reminding you of that. Hey, we're all here.
well, and even at the ancestor, like, there's
Mm-hmm.
my ancestors, which are Haisla and Haida, but there's the Gitsan ancestors that are I'm almost closer with them because of where I live.
Mm-hmm.
And I interact with, like, Gitsan, like, I'm just so ingrained with the Gitsan with being here for the
Well, and
last.
this benefits so many people across so many nations, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I started kind of doing some of my uh, group healing work with the First Nations in BC too. Like I was doing a lot just here or a lot with my nations, but then it became came all
Yep.
of BC, and so then they were with and then that's like my brain can't even fathom how powerful that is, right?
Yeah, so this takes it out of, because what you were feeling initially and up to about 2/3 of the way through here was the overwhelm. When you look at this, you're like, who am I to do this? And I don't know. And feeling it's just you. And so she's telling you, we're here. Remember, we're here. We got your back. You're not doing this all on your own. It's huge, the support that you have and the interconnections that are backing this, that want this to happen and will help in the manifestation process step by step. Of course, it's going to be work. Doing anything on the physical plane has its issues and challenges, right? But you're not alone here. This isn't just on you. Wow. Thank you, future self from 2025. Good message to get across.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to 2030. 2030, you too will be able to connect at any time with Laurie, but anything you want to say at this point in time as we wrap this?
She just she wants me to have fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So back to the fun. Good. Remember to have fun. This is an incredible opportunity we have to have a life and an incarnation at this point in time. So have fun with this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, future self. I feel your dad, so let's see if there's anything that dad wants to communicate at this point in time. I feel his love beaming through to you. There's something in his hand. It's like he wants to give you something. Can you
Oh.
feel what that is? What is that? Feel him just extending his hand through me to you over there. What's the hand?
Yeah, I don't know. It's almost like I'm holding his hand and he's holding, like, there's the connectiveness through the hands of all the spiritual
Mm,
helpers.
okay. Yeah. So he's like, here, hold the hands. Feel that support flowing through.
Hmm.
And then I could just feel that swoosh. So from him to them, right? That was they don't need to say anything. They're part of this flow down through those generations, all the way through. Okay. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, ancestors. Bow to everybody. Bow to everybody. Thank them. You had this whole team show up. Yeah. And I feel that too. I just bow to them. Thank you for the help and the support and the wisdom and the interest. This is a multi-generational, multi-dimensional plan here and coming into fruition. And you're the one at this point in time and place, who's the interchange here. Okay, so with that, future 20 to be releasing them, right? So thanking them, bowing to them, thanking for coming. And we want to keep the connections going. So to Dad, right? Anything that is there any, you can put boundaries. I mean, if you don't want this coming through 24/7, you can set up some parameters, right? So anything that you need to put in place boundary wise so that you can operate in 2020, any things you need to negotiate with your dream team here? How do they interact with you? How do they support you?
Yeah, it's coming up that when I'm there, like I'm going to be spending a lot of time there over the summer.
Yep.
That's the good time to be in connection when
Okay.
I'm there.
Okay. Very good. Yep.
Yeah, because I'll be there every weekend. And even maybe more because I'm going to have a garden. So I've
Mm-hmm.
already started it a bit. So
Okay. Good. So that becomes that is them. That's the kind of rules. Connect with me. Be there
mhm.
with me. Good. Okay. You can feel them. Okay. Kind of receding there. And you can go and journey at any time if you care to, beyond them showing up when you're there actually on the land.
Yeah, and I just think it'll, like, to set it up so that, like, I'll obviously be thinking about it when I'm here, and other times that that's but not 24/7 for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's part of what's been happening for you, that it's been a bit overwhelming because this is showing up and trying to get through at all sorts of times.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's kind of set a little parameters here about when this can show up. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So with that, 2025 self leads you back to where you first connected in with her. And you have your ability to do this very quickly. So just doing your final thanks, receive the love and support from them. And when you're ready, boom, bring yourself back to 2020, having come back from this incredible journey. I will send you this map, so you've got the map to orient you. And the map's not the territory. I mean, the richness of what we just did, that's all inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
The map will help, you know, evoke some of it. And this is just, I'll put version 1.0,
Mm-hmm.
because this is the, you know, this is a good start. This is taking it from where it was up to this next level of manifestation by getting it into version 1.0 of this game plan, knowing that this will continue to unfold. I didn't get to buy steps, so I'll leave that as part of what's next to unfold as you continue to project manage this and put some more by whens in terms of the granular stuff, right, underneath.
Yeah.
I think we have a by when here. We'll put 20, well, now and ongoing maybe. What do you want me to put for the day-to-day operations? Because there's,
Yeah, I kind of like that now and ongoing, because
yeah,
honestly, it's already in my head of staffing, and
yeah,
all
exactly.
the operations is already happening in my head. So
Yeah, yeah. And these whole stage, right, is to get it, there will be, it doesn't mean everything has to be perfectly done for them, boom, then you move into day-to-day operations. No, this is going to become operations all the way along. And then it will gel into, you know, a next level of things beyond at some point there when it naturally will. Okay, that was really fantastic. Thank you. What an honor to do.
yes, thank you. That was amazing. I yeah, I'm feeling feeling it, but it's good. It's good. I really loved that calm feeling, because I don't always get into
Yeah,
that
yeah,
space.
exactly. So that's, let that continue to percolate, right? Because that's really,
Yeah,
really needed for your nervous system. So, and it'll
for
be
sure.
interesting, hopefully through this process. We'll see how long that calm lasts, but I would hope with the, that you have a different relationship to it all now, right? Being able to really feel that bigger team behind you and feel the
For sure.
land, right? And feel your partner too, and a whole his connections and all these other partners, right?
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
it gives you a different thing instead of all being on your shoulders and one person. How the heck am I going to carry this to, oh, and hey,
Yeah.
actually this has, can feel fun too. And what a magnificent project, right? To bring into creation. Yeah. What an honor to do that too, to have this funnel through one. Yeah. And not to take away that, yeah, there's, this is big. This has got some stuff to accomplish, but you're very capable. And, you know, all this must have lined up for a reason for you. You're to do this.
Yeah, for sure. And there's been some synergy with like another healer friend. She's like, "Oh, actually, she'd even done a budget for a healing center, and
Mm,
she's going to share it with me." And
cool.
is I have a lot of connections over the years of people that do the healing work
Mm-hmm.
that may or may not be involved, but it'll be interesting to see who I've worked with for years that will connect with this and be a part of it, and it's going to be pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
Hmm.
I look forward to
You'll have to come
being,
up and
I know, I
check
just
it
felt
out.
that. I'm like, I think I'm going to be in there. I can feel it. Yeah.
Yeah.
How amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Well, it's been a really, thank you for doing this. And it's, you've been such a, connector in with Shifted, right? You've just really used the Shifted E community, and now it's morphing with the process groups and this. So, you know, it's been fantastic to work with you like this, Laurie, and thank you for doing this part of it. And I do look forward to standing the physicality as that emerges. So
Yes.
awesome. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you so
Yeah.
much. It's really great. Now it's not swirling in my head. It's on a piece of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. We've taken it to the next step of manifestation. Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a closing quote. Anything, you come in, we feel a certain way, we do whatever the heck's going to happen. So this is what happened. What's your closing quote as you leave the session? Just an I am or I have statement about how you are at this point in time.
I, there's so much, but really just the word of the calm. Like, I don't know that I've felt that level of calmness in my whole life.
Wow.
So, you know, now I can bring it back. You know, it might not, you know, I just, that's one of the things that I do once, you know, it's like, okay, with clients, right? Okay, so
Yep.
what, like now you know it, you can bring it back whenever you want to, right? And
Well,
yeah,
that's your closing quote. I am calm.
I'm calm. Yeah, even it's funny to say it because I don't, it's not what I usually feel, but it's good.
Wow. Good. That's an excellent sign that you did some really powerful work. And again, my honor. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.